Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Coach Sherry, and this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. Today is day 35 of 90 days of going live, and I'm telling you, it's definitely getting easier as I go. It is not a new habit yet. Some people would say, well, Coach Sherry, you've done more than 21 days. So, a lot of places, a lot of people have said that you do something for 21 days, it becomes a habit. But no, it's actually, it takes 6 months to develop a new habit. But I am strengthening that muscle memory of going live. So, it is something that I think about every day. It's something that I know I am going to do regardless of what's going on or how I feel, or if my time is limited, I know that I am going live. And that is definitely a muscle that has not been worked in a long time. Because in the past, I may have had intentions of going live, but then something happens or the day is getting shorter than I expected. And I just say, I'm not going live today. And I go on and move on to the next. Whereas now I definitely feel more obligated, and not in a bad way. It's not a bad obligation, but I definitely feel more obligated to go live since that is the challenge that I am doing. And the challenge is for no other reason than to have more consistency here on YouTube. Not only am I doing lives, but I am also trying to be more intentional with doing pre recorded videos, shorts, as well as posting things on my community wall. And I really want to increase the efforts on all those other areas as well as continuing doing these lives. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel in all the different areas. I know some people prefer the live, some people prefer the pre record, some people prefer shorts. Either way, I appreciate your support. So thank you. Thank you to all 500 that are in the building, whether you hear during the live or in the replay. I appreciate it. So the other week, I did a live on A through Z guide to personal and professional growth. And I just went through the alphabet, and with each letter, just talked about what that letter represented in regards to your personal and professional growth. And I said also that I was going to, for each letter, do a separate deep dive with it. So I already finished with A, which was assertiveness. And I know a lot of people were really excited about that because some people, you know, aren't as assertive or assertive at all as they would like to be in all areas of their life. And they definitely feel like that's holding them back, that's making them not be able to seize the moment. They were getting it a little bit confused too, assertive versus aggressive. So being able to communicate that and talk through that, I think was helpful. I'm going to see here. I see Slasher Chick is in the building. She said, you have to go live. And it has been a fun but long day. So it's been a very long day for me. When I really looked at it, I was up for 24 hours yesterday. I woke up around 1:30 yesterday morning so that I can start my day and get on my way to attend my aunt's services in Maryland. And our intentions were to stay over at a hotel. I actually went in the hotel to book the rooms, and I don't know, something just said, you know what? You all could make it back today. And so I went back to the vehicle, spoke to everyone, and I was like, what do y'all think about just thugging it out? And after going to the repast, just keep going. And everyone agreed. And so after the repast, communicating and having a good time with my relatives, we hit the road, and I didn't get back until about quarter to 2 a.m. And so officially that was 24 hours. And I was so, so tired today. So I just relaxed, slept until I woke up. No schedule or anything. And so that was really good. I see Mrs. Newton's big family, big noises in the building. How are you? I hope your son's clothes got clean to go to church today. I remember those days, the last minute, and I sometimes I used to think they would say that, "Oh, I don't have anything to wear tomorrow," waiting till the last minute in the hopes that I would say, "Oh, don't worry about it. You don't really have to go." But usually you were better than me. I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad that you were able to wash his clothes. But sometimes I would be like, well, we'll just have to find something in the closet. If it's appropriate, great. If not, that's on you. But I was happy to see that you did that. That was definitely a mother's touch. Yes, I have been very busy. Hey, Conscious Business Services and Opportunities. It's so great to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Yes, hail to you as well. Amen. Yes. Hi, Nancy, Parent Ministries. How are you doing? Great to see you. Yes. And, and sometimes you have to think about that when you're traveling. Is it better to, have a late night, have a good time and everything in a different location, go to sleep and wake up early in that same location only to have to get up and leave to get back home? Or is it better to, just take your time, get back home as late as it may be, but at least you're going to bed at home and you're waking up and you don't have to worry about traveling, that next day. Because otherwise, it would have definitely have been 2 full days of travel. And for all the things that I have going on this week, I thought it would be best for me to stay put here all day today, which was great. I see everyone is speaking. Again, thank you all for being here. Slasher Chick has not gone live yet, so she's also doing the challenge, the 90-day live challenge, and she'll be going live, probably overlapping this live or shortly after this live. I'm not sure exactly what time, but I know she's been very diligent as well. Okay, you say 9:30. She's going to go on at 9:30. Perfect. All right. Thank you all for speaking. So today I wanted to talk about the B for boundaries, how to create personal and professional boundaries. Again, this goes back to the other live I did on the A through Z guide to personal and professional growth. And we've already finished with A, assertiveness, and now we're on to B, boundaries. And boundaries are so important. One of the reasons why I decided to do this topic is just on our way to Maryland yesterday. My middle daughter, my center child, she is a realtor and she has a closing coming up on Tuesday. And she's working with a handyman to do some of the repairs on the house that she was hopeful to be able to use for other properties that she has. And she had told the handyman that, she was going to be heading out of town. We had death in the family, and she was going to be at a funeral service. And if he needed to communicate with her, to please do it via text because it would be challenging to speak. And, you know, during the course of the drive to Maryland, she was basically back and forth with him, with the seller and the buyer's agent. And it was a lot and it was becoming very frustrating to her. And I said, you have to really you have to set clear boundaries, but you also have to stick with them, because she said, I did let them know that I was going to be out of town. And it was obvious that, none of them, well, the seller was fine, but really the handyman, and then at times the buyer's agent, and the things that the handyman was telling her, it really wasn't anything that required her, her signature or her green light or anything like that. He basically was just asking her things that were obvious, like, oh, they said that there was um a spot that needed to be patched up by the door. Is there anything else? No, there isn't anything else. I mean, if there was something else, they would have said that in the report. And and so she had to say that to him. No, there is not anything else. And it was just little things like that that was really starting to frustrate her. And so I know that a lot of times, especially if you work for someone, um, if you're an employee, if you are the type of person that answers the phone on the weekends and respond to emails on the weekends, then they will find you to be accessible during the weekends. So they wouldn't have any problems giving you a project, calling you up, anything like that. And when you hang up or finish with the email, I know a lot of times people get very frustrated. They feel like they don't have any time of their own, and that's because they hadn't set any boundaries. If they didn't answer the phone, if they didn't respond to the email until Monday or whenever the next business day that they work was, then the people would realize, you know what? I'll wait till Monday to contact such and such because they don't play with their personal time. Their boundaries are set, or people just know that for you. They may contact other people on the weekend, but they know that you're not going to respond. And so it's not that they don't bother calling you, they just know to respect that about you. And so I was telling my daughter, maybe instead of you being that available, I mean, I get it, it's her business. And when it is your business, you do want to be on point. But even that, you get that burnout and you get that. I told her sometimes common sense is not that common to everyone. And so sometimes you have to show them better than you can tell them. So if you say that you're not going to be able to speak, then you need to just text like you want them to, communicate with you. So I see TWP Popcorn is in the building. What's popping with you? How are you doing? Good to see you. Oh, Mrs. Newton's. Oh, you have some crab legs. I would love to have some crab legs right now. What are you putting in your butter sauce? I know I love to put garlic in my butter sauce and garlic and pepper, a little bit of red flakes as well. I hope it's really good. So that's why today, and I listen with 26 letters in the alphabet and I've only done letter A. I have plenty of time within my next few weeks with this 90-day challenge to go over all the letters, but I really wanted to go into the letter B for boundaries. And so, with boundaries, this is about establishing limits to safeguard your well being and maintain healthy relationships. And that's another thing, she was so gun ho about this handyman, but now because he was such a bugaboo, she's thinking about not considering him for her other projects because he didn't adhere to her requests. But again, she also like gave in by calling him sometimes, and I'm like, you shouldn't have given in. So she has to do a reset. And I said, maybe give him one more shot with another property before you just call it, over. But that could be a personal relationship, a business relationship, any type of relationship. If boundaries are not kept or not respected, it definitely can hinder those relationships. So I hope that these strategies that I'm going to share with you will help you to create better boundaries personally and professionally. So let's go right into it and look at the first one. And I hope you have your pen and paper or any way that you capture your notes. I hope you have them available so that you can write these things down. And not just for yourself, but even for your circle, your family and friends. In conversations, you may want to bring this up as you start to recognize other people maybe not having clear boundaries, and just share some of these nuggets and tips with them. So, number one is to assess your priorities and limits. And this is before you begin setting boundaries. So even before you say, all right, this is what I need, you really have to be in tune with your values, your needs, and your capacity. And also think about your workload, responsibilities, and time needed for your personal care. So if you are not already in tune with your values, I highly recommend that you write out a list of what you value. Is it time? Is it integrity? Is it patience? Is it, personal space? What are some things that you value? And then what are your needs? What do you need? Do you need people to be more patient with you? Do you need to have more patience for other people? What are some of your needs? Do you need more time to complete a project? Do you need to be able to set your own schedule, to set your own pace and share what your pace and schedule is with others instead of them telling you when the deadline is going to be. And what is your actual capacity? What can you actually handle? What's your bandwidth? Some people just say, like, give it to me, give it all, especially a new business. A new business is always wanting all the business, but all business is not good business, especially if, the customers that you're dealing with aren't adhering to your boundaries. I hear a lot of people, that either get out of business or sell their business because sometimes the customers that don't adhere to their boundaries really work their nerves to the point of, I can't do this. I cannot do this business anymore. Just forget it. I know when I was doing jewelry and, my jewelry business was a happenstance. I was not expecting it to turn into the type of business it turned into. It was, it whirlwind into something remarkable. And, I know how some brides are. And once I got into the bridal arena and dealing with brides and bridal parties and customizing pieces and always finding myself going back to the drawing board because maybe they want to add something, or it's bigger than they wanted it to be or smaller than they thought it would be. And and I know how important that day is. And I won't say I'm a perfectionist because I don't think anything is perfect per se, but I want it to be right for them on that day. But that really started to make me have burnout and not enjoy the business of making jewelry as much as I had, because it was really supposed to be just a hobby, um, which was so crazy too. But um, it started to burn me out and not have me enjoy it. And so what I ended up doing was selling it to one of my consultants because I was just like, I just can't deal with them anymore. And I've dealt with brides almost all my life, just even in my parents' business. And I know how my parents were amazing, dealing with brides, especially my mother. And I was great at dealing with them. It's just for me doing the marketing communication with them as well as the designs. I think for me that was challenging. So assess your priorities and your limits, and understand what do you need for your personal care. you know how are you going to handle yourself and deal with yourself? What type of space and time do you need? Just like with my daughter, she needed that personal time to be with family, to grieve, to enjoy family at the same time. And that was a boundary that she had set. However, it was not necessarily adhered to by her handyman. So I see Love Marlene 411 is in the building. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. I hope that you get some great nuggets from this. Let's look at number two. Number two. So, number two is about communicate boundaries clearly. That is so important, to communicate your boundaries clearly. Now, if you already have number one pretty much down packed, you'll know what your boundaries need to be. So you want to be definitive with your boundaries. That means you don't want to have a conversation where you're kind of like, I think, I may, or anything like that. You want to have open conversations about your boundaries, and you want to just communicate the problem. You're communicating the problem is not enough to set the boundaries. So if you're just talking about the problem, like, oh, this is going on in my life, I really think that I need to spend more time with this person or on this project, or I'm not feeling that well, but I'm here. Those aren't setting boundaries for yourself. That's communicating, yes, what's going on in your life, but you can't expect the person that's hearing you to say what your boundaries should be. You can't expect someone to tell you, well, you should spend more time with that person, or you should take off and take care of yourself. No, you have to set those boundaries. And that's why you need to use strong I statements, not the I may need to, but, or I need, I may have to, or I'm thinking about. No, you need strong I statements that would say, I need to take off today because I don't feel well. And in order for me to be at my best, I need to fully rest my body. Or I need to spend more time with my family. So I'm going to come to a hard stop at 3 o'clock. You really have to set those boundaries clear, because other people aren't going to set your boundaries. They're going to keep, it's not that they're pushing you or using you. They're just going to do what needs to be done. And if your boundaries aren't known to them, they won't know how far. That's why you have to be very, very clear with it. And a lot of people aren't. They feel like, oh, I don't want them to get mad, or I don't know if I should say this. But if you are trying to really protect your brand, because then if you don't set your boundaries and no one is going to set them for you, you may become disgruntled, you may become resentful, and you might start showing up in a different way that's not going to support your ultimate goal, which is to continue to evolve and propel. Because you might start slipping up, making mistakes. You may start, if you're not feeling well, you may not be able to focus. You might have very foggy brains, and things might get undone. So you definitely want to make sure that your boundaries and the way that you communicate them are clear and are considering your whole body and what you need, and make those strong I statements for sure. I see that Vernell Livingston is in the building. Hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. All right. So now let's look at number three. Number three. All right. Number three is establish work life separation. So this one is very interesting because I know, especially since COVID and how COVID made it possible for, a record number of people really to work from home. And because of that, many people have not been able to create physical and mental separation between work and personal life. And it's especially hard when you have a home-based business. Now, when you have a home-based business, you are basically, I don't want to say you are available 24/7, but a lot of people run their home business like that. And the thing about a home-based business, you really need to have office hours. Now, we always had some type of outside office. And even if I was just doing, say, my coaching business, I would always have some type of outside office so I can go to it. Even if it's one of those hub type offices where you are in a shared space, they have some great ones around. I'm trying to think of some names of them. Um, but in each state, in each city, they have different places, and you would pay a monthly fee. It's a lot less expensive than if you had just your own standalone office in many cases, but it's a place where you can go at any time. Even though it's shared, there's common areas that you can work in. If you need to make private calls, they typically have smaller rooms that you can go into. If you have to have a conference, you can have rooms for that. Some of them even have podcast rooms. So it's a lot of different types of rooms that you can go into, or, things you can use it for. I know some creatives, they will rent spaces in those types of areas to, create their work, because, just to step outside and get a different scenery. And if that's not your thing, or if that is too pricey, then, going to a coffee shop can be a thing. Going into a library, some libraries have separate rooms. I just feel that, stepping out of your personal space sometimes is very important for, for your mental, for your networking, and just to get you in a different environment can be very helpful. And also, it helps with your creativity. It clears your mind. A lot of people, they stay home, and if you're only getting ideas from just you, then how good is that? And especially if you can help it. And I know, especially if you live in a major city, some people live in just large, what do they call them, studio apartments. But if you can, try and have your office away from your bedroom so you can separate your resting place from your workspace. That is very important too. And that's why, again, you need to also set specific work hours and stick to them. Honor those work hours. If you want to work your home based business from 9 to 5, 10 to 6, if you have a full time job and your home based business is your additional stream of income, if you want and you have to work on it outside of your regular day hours, what is that like? It could be 5 to 9, 6 to 10. Is it 3 hours a day that you're working on it, 4 hours a day, eight hours a day? Determine what those hours are going to be and adhere to those as well. You want a calendar on your calendar, you want to block off time, especially if your home-based business is your second stream of income. Block out the time that you have available to do what you're going to do. If you do a service where you might develop marketing pieces or business plans, or if you do coaching for people, what amount of hours and which days of the week are you going to do that? If you are doing networking for your business, what days of the week are you doing that? If you're doing calls, cold calls, calling on clients, what day of the week and how many hours during those days are you doing that? You need to really map out everything and be very intentional. When you can schedule your weeks like that, you will be so much more productive. You really will. And then, don't check your emails or take work calls outside of those hours. A lot of times you might be tempted because our emails and such are on our phones, but have the set times that you're going to do that and adhere to that. And if you're sick, then take care of yourself and not the work. So if you're sick, don't open up your laptop. I know it's easy. You can pull it right into bed with you, but don't pull it up there. Really, I'm telling you, it may, if you're sick, it may take 5 to 7 days to get better if you're trying to work and get better. But if you're sick and you're not doing work and you're just taking care of yourself, you'll be better in 2 to 3 days. It's really that simple. And if you're sick, how effective are you going to really be? So even in your home-based business, I know you might be saying, but Coach Sherry, if I don't work, I don't get paid. I get that. And that's why you need to take care of yourself quickly and efficiently and not let it linger on. That's the last thing your client wants to do is hear you coughing, sneezing, sniffles, all of that. They want to know that you're healthy. So take care of yourself. All right, let's see number 4. Number 4. Okay, number 4 is learning to say no. Learn to say no. No is a complete sentence, and it's all in how you receive it. It's not anything against you. For me, when I get the word no, I feel like it's not right now, and it actually encourages me to go back to the drawing board and figure out how I can get that no to a yes. But some people get very discouraged with no, but you also need to learn how to say no and politely decline when requests cross your boundary lines or exceed your capacity. So, some people, again, especially if you're just starting out, everything is a yes. And I get it. And I totally get it because you definitely want to seem like, you're the go-to person, especially if it's something that's in your wheelhouse, something that you know how to do, something that you want to do more of. You really want to say yes because, like, oh man, this is a great opportunity. But if it's not within your capacity, don't try and do it because you may not be able to honor that date. And if they're counting on you because you said yes and you actually you're late or you can't do it at all, then they have to scramble and now they're looking at you like you don't have good work ethic. You don't have a lot of respect maybe for what they do. You don't know what they may be thinking, but whatever it is, it won't be positive. And again, whatever it is, they may not ask you next time. However, if you decline politely and maybe even in some instances when you can delegate it and give them another alternative, like I can't, but I know this other person is phenomenal, something like that. If it's appropriate, then they'll look at you like, oh, even though we really wanted that person or we really wanted her, um, she couldn't do it this time, but she did give us another great person. And that's not to say that they won't try you again, because when you decline, you let them know that you are grateful that they asked you, but you just at this time is not fitting with your schedule. But if it comes up again, to please let you know, because you really want to be part of the great things that they're doing, and then give them the suggested person or thing that that can do it instead. And always kind of have an arsenal of people that, like a pool of people that you can pull from, like that's in your circle, peers that can also be recommended for things. But learn to say no, and that will definitely help with your boundaries for sure. Let's see, Vernell is saying no, it's not right now and it saves your life. Give me a date to think about it. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And let's look at number 5. Number 5 is about the importance of maintain professional and personal relationships. You want to avoid engaging in gossip. You want to have integrity and be trustworthy. Understand the boundaries where you are at work and at home, and respect and adhere to those boundaries just as you would want them to adhere to yours. So, you don't want to be that one where, you have more problems than solutions, and you're talking about what other people are doing or not doing, and you're not adhering to your own boundaries. It's like, okay, they're not doing that, but you're not either. You're so busy talking about them. So you want to have integrity. You want to be someone that people can trust, because what you say you're going to do, you actually will do it. And it's not to say that you know how to do it all the time. So you do ask for clarification. You ask for additional support or information. And that's part of how you're going to get the job done. And that also goes into being trustworthy. And understanding your boundaries, you have to know that whoever you're dealing with, they have their own set of boundaries too. So, what are their boundaries? And so, when you maintain that relationship, it's a give and take. They know your boundaries, and you know and respect their boundaries. So, I always use the example of, if you are an employee, you want to do your personal brand is everything. You not only have your personal brand that you are considering, but also the company's brand at the same time. And you think about not yourself as an employee, but as the employer, and how you are showing up regarding your boundaries, you know, or the employer's boundaries. If you were that employer, how would you feel if your employee didn't adhere to those boundaries? Putting yourself in those other people's shoes. And I don't think that happens enough, where people are really understanding the importance of, it's not just about you. And so, you want to know that having a strong work ethic, and also understanding the expectations, and not really pushing the limit. Not pushing the limit is definitely something that is not, you don't have to push those limits. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's going to put you out of bounds, and maybe out of an opportunity, out of a job, or out of business. So, definitely be mindful of maintaining professional and personal relationships. And let's see. And I have a sixth one that I just really thought about. And let me see. I see Nancy saying, yes, mutual respect. Yes. And mutual respect is treat others how you would want to be treated. And so, even if someone doesn't treat you the best, the better you treat them, they're going to understand your boundaries, and you might be that change or that person that they're going to respect. You can't control what they say, do, or think, but you can control how you are. You don't want to mirror their bad side. You want to mirror your best side at all times. So, number 6 in this one is called, seek support and advice. Seek support and advice. So, let me see. All right, this is about how to create boundaries, and this is the last one. I don't have it up here, but you know that is seek support and advice. Sometimes you may struggle with setting boundaries, and if you still are working on being assertive, then that may be why you are having problems with creating boundaries. So seek guidance from a mentor or a coach, counselor, or even a colleague. And periodically, you need to review your boundaries and adjust them as needed. So your boundaries are not one and done. Just because you have them, that doesn't mean that that's all you can do and that's the way it is. Don't be stubborn about it. Definitely be open to make those adjustments as necessary. All right. So, yes, thank you. Stay in your own vibrations. Yes, I like that. Conscious business services and opportunities. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mutual respect. Mm-hmm. 100%. So, I want you to protect your mental health and increase your productivity and maintain a healthy work life balance with clear personal and professional boundaries. And I hope that you found this information helpful. I hope that there was a nugget or two. It might have been an aha moment of something that you knew, but you forgot that, I'm going to start doing that again, or I'm going to start doing that. And I want to know, what will you improve or implement to set better boundaries? And that is my question I'm going to leave you with, to let that question marinate. And if you don't mind, after this live is closed, if you can go to the comment section of the recorded version of this live and just put in there, you know, what will you improve or implement to set better boundaries? All right, everyone, that's all I have for you tonight. I will be back tomorrow for day 36 of 90 of going live. I appreciate you all for being here. We had Nancy Perrin Ministries, Conscious Business Services and Opportunities. We had Vernell Livingston, TWP Popcorn, Slasher Chick, Love Marlene 411, and Mrs. Newton's Big Family, Big Noise joined us this evening. And for all you 500 that are watching this in replay, thank you very much. And remember, practice so hard every day, not just sometimes, but every day, so that when you get in the game, you will always play to win. It has been my honor. I am Coach Sherry.